Hello and welcome to Geek Full Trades.
Your podcast for all things geeky. I'm Greg Barlow.
And I'm Joe Pretorius.
And today you're joining us for some preemptive festive fun.
It's true. It's the season, you know?
Well, almost.
One day.
Tis almost the season.
Depends on which season you want. It's pre-season, Greg. There we go.
Pre-season. Yeah, you've got to do some planning. Some
Yeah.
solid festive season planning where you won't get all the stuff
get your runes all in a line, get your XP grinded up, get ready for it. Yeah.
Exactly, right. So this episode today we'll be covering some of the activities we'll be getting up to over this festive period. So mostly December, maybe a little bit of January. But until then, what are you drinking tonight, Doug?
Just Coca-Cola, Greg.
Just Coca-Cola. This podcast not sponsored by Coca-Cola.
No. I was like, do I remove the label and just it's cola? No.
It could be Pepsi.
No.
In a Coca-Cola bottle.
I don't like
Nobody
Pepsi,
would know.
Greg. I don't like Pepsi.
That's one for the secret fan wiki.
True.
So I'm drinking a lovely Alchemist's gin and tonic water tonight. So cheers.
Cheers.
With your totally not Pepsi.
Totally not. Well, yes.
Exactly. So with that in mind and us sufficiently hydrated, let's head on over to a wild news headline appears. Stuck in a dungeon dimension.
It's true. It's large.
Your level 2 wilder.
Yeah. It doesn't get a speciality, actually. I checked.
Does not. Oh, you looked it up.
I just get extra. I get to add my charisma now onto certain saves.
Ooh, wow, that's a lot of extra saves.
I think it's my. No, sorry. It's I get to add my charisma to my touch AC against spells. Well, no, I just get to add to my touch AC, but it can't be higher than my regular AC.
You can tell it's a relic of the past if you've got a touch AC in already.
Yeah, all right.
You've got your two chipmunk friends in the party, non-IP infringing Chad and Darren.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Chad and Darren rescue chipmunks.
What's another thing for it? What's a rescue striders?
Yeah. And when last you left off, you were in a sort of clearing with an abandoned camp and a cursed plinth.
I just recovered the weird eye. Yeah,
the weird eye, and you put some tent over it, and you're saving it for a rainy day.
Yeah, you got to do these things.
So you head on down and continue along the path, and come onto a large sort of semi-ruined structure that sort of encompasses part of the mountainside, and it's very overgrown with vines and plant life. And pushing aside some of the vines, you find an entryway and go inside. And find yourself in a chamber filled with dozens of strange tapestries. Like one has an image of a fae dancing in a ring of toadstools whilst thunderclouds gather overhead, and another shows like a young man weeping over the corpse of a murdered maiden in a glade. What would you like to do in this room?
Well, let us investigate the first one with the toadstools, the tapestry with that.
So in this tapestry, you sort of investigate the weave closer, and you see in the distance, like of the setting, there's like tiny writing there, and you kind of make it out, and there's a headline woven into the weave of the tapestry, and this headline is that Valve is working on a Half-Life shooter strategy game tailored for the Steam Deck.
Ooh. Okay. I mean,
Steam Deck strategy.
Yeah, Steam Deck's an interesting one. You know, I don't know how much it's gonna actually like kind of like kick off with there. I know some people who have had access to it have had a lot of fun with it and have done pretty decently with it, but um, um,
So
I
the
don't know.
Steam Deck has always been like this thing that's going to occur, but just never seems to occur, in like my
I mean,
opinion. This,
yeah, I mean, there was that sort of like thing. You were always like,
mm,
cool, it's gonna come, and then Nvidia released like their Shield thing, and then that didn't
mhm,
kick off,
mm.
and all sorts of like random things. But they've been showing off more and more. And I mean, you can order it nowadays as well.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
So yeah, and it looks decent.
Hmm.
It's much more powerful than a Switch, about the same dimensions, and has that weird touchpad thing going on, which I still don't quite agree with. I like having
Mm,
tactileness to my
mm,
controllers.
mm,
That said, I've been like playing a lot of Wild Rift, and that's just been
mhm.
on the phone with the touchscreens, and it's surprisingly good, like an easy
Yeah.
and sort of like intuitive to make use of it.
Hmm.
But I think in there you've got screens, so you can see where the buttons and stuff are, and it's all there, and you can kind of make it interactive that way. With
Hmm.
it being just like these sort of sensors of like how far you move and stuff, I'd love to know what it actually feels like.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, no, that definitely it seems interesting, but like I'd need to hold one before I ever considered buying one. Like,
Yeah.
um, but the game, the Valve game, is codenamed Citadel, woo
Okay.
woo, and is described as having a style akin to what you might expect if Left 4 Dead, Alien Swarm, and RTS and Half Life were all having a baby.
Okay. That's quite the clash of genres in there.
Indeed.
To me,
So
always like the RTS thing like never quite works. There's been a number of attempts of doing like, cool, we're gonna put RTS elements into this and have your workers be first person shooter people,
yeah,
and
yeah,
never go by any
yeah, it
of
never
your
really sticks,
orders.
does it? Mm,
Well, it's because everyone wants like their own idea of what to do. Think about like Battlefield like removed their commander sort of like thing in the last few iterations. There's just no point in it of like, cool, don't tell me what to do. I'm just gonna go kill stuff, damn it.
yeah, yeah.
And also, who wants to be stuck on resource gathering duty?
This game is so fun.
Yeah,
Can I have Shan's shoes?
you played the Warfronts in
Mm,
Belfast Azeroth there, and like,
hmm,
yeah,
hmm.
the Wrathy one where it's like, I'm gonna go do mine duty, or I'm gonna go and do lumber duty. And you're just like, well, no one wants to do that. I was gonna go and fight.
Pretty much. It's like if you want
uh,
to do PvP, you go to you do PvP.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
uh,
Oh, but that's it. I mean, like, there's a lot of games and stuff that are out there that had like the PvPvE sort of like elements going on, trying to make it like what's it, the asymmetrical, which is the big thing of the last few years. But who knows? I mean, also, I don't know. I really like. I wonder how good a touchpad is for aiming in a first-person shooter.
I mean,
Like,
that's what people said about like
yeah, but
controllers.
analog, it feels responsive. I can
Mm,
jam it up, and I'm gonna look in whatever direction, sort of like thing on a touchpad. I don't know. Like you're gonna like. I suppose it's a similar concept. It just
mm.
doesn't. I guess it's again that tactile thing that I'm just
But
like, I don't understand.
also, if you rewind time back to when consoles were first coming out, there was
Hmm.
hard kickback against shooters on consoles because of
Yeah, I think GoldenEye.
oh, I can't aim. Oh.
Yeah, GoldenEye and Halo.
Hmm.
Uh, and I mean, it's not bad, but I don't know. It's still. I
It
guess I'll
will
have to wait
remain
and
to be
see.
seen.
Yeah, I like to me the Steam Deck is a very good thing for like playing like. And again, this is a bit of a problem because I see it like good for like I suppose racing games are the one thing that like I've kind of like thought of in there now and been like, oh yeah, that could fit in there. But platformers would be the other thing. But you've already got the Switch, and the Switch has all the really good platformers already on it because that's what
Mm,
Nintendo does. And a lot of the indie games are on there, which are of that
mm,
thing. So you don't need a
mm.
more powerful thing that's like a mini computer. You just need Switch,
Which levels of
But
power? Yeah.
yeah, which is not super super. I mean, it's less than an
Mm,
iPhone these
it
days,
gets the
but
job done.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I suppose we'll see. I'll also see what the local pricing is, and then just be like, no.
If there even will be local pricing, who knows? Maybe it
Who
just won't even
knows?
get released here.
Yeah, we've had that happen before.
We've had that happen before. Or it
Mm.
eventually makes its way down here when the Steam Deck 2 is announced.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll get
And
like the
everyone
first
starts
one.
selling their old ones secondhand on the
Yeah,
market.
yeah.
Um, okay. Well, whilst investigating the tapestries, you notice on one of the walls, one of the tapestries depicts almost life-size double doors that are bounded in iron and silver and covered in arcane runes and very intricately done. And in the tapestry, there's a figure who's like clad in black. He's being hurled back from the door, like as he's struck by a bolt of lightning from the door.
Ooh.
Obvious lockpicks flying from his fingers as he gets struck. And he has a companion on the other side of the tapestry, who's like dressed more in chainmail and is sort of like rushing forward to try and help him. And this the second character in the tapestry is holding a big silver key.
Hmm.
What would you like to do?
Uh. Hmm. Let's examine. Is like there anything in the markings of where it's being zapped from? Is it like actually a hole or anything like that?
So yes, there is a keyhole where the lightning's coming out of, but it's part of the tapestry. But it is much very intricately detailed in the tapestry, and roughly the size of what a keyhole would be.
Okay. Well, let's examine the key being held by the other person.
It's a large silver key, roughly the size of what a large silver key would be.
Okay. Okay. Let's see if we can cut it out.
So you can't cut it out, but you do discover that the tapestry is quite loose, so you could probably move it.
Oh, let's move it over onto.
So you're going to move the key to the keyhole.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As you do so, there's a clicking noise,
Oh
and
no.
you release the tapestry back, and the door on the tapestry opens up into another room if you would like to enter.
Ooh. Let's take a look in first.
It's quite dark. You'll have to step through.
I'm gonna. Let's ask one of the chipmunks if they've got dark vision or not.
You do
No,
not
they've
see
lost the will
chipmunk.
to speak.
But they
um,
both jump from your shoulder and into the tapestry and run forward. You see them become part of the tapestry and move slowly as chipmunks further into the distance.
oh my, it's going to be a Kirby's fabric like sort of thing. Oh well, what could go wrong? And I'll step through the divide.
Stepping through the tapestry, you find yourself in another corridor, as if it's just the normal world. But you turn and look back, and there's a tapestry on the wall behind you, and that shows a room filled with tapestries. And you start heading down. Your little chipmunk friends like beckon you and lead you into another large chamber. And in this chamber, it's filled with like sort of strange curves and bizarre shapes. And in the center, it's very dark, but in the center of the room, there's a tall staff with a very faint flame flickering at the top of it. And on sort of around the walls of the room, there's numbers written all in a circle
Mhm.
and in like finely carved, polished brass. And yeah, what would you like to do?
Let's see if we can read what numbers are up there.
Hmm. So it's fairly obvious. You sort of walk up and investigate, and each number is the numbers 1 to 12 uh, going around a circle in the room.
Okay, and so,
Investigating the
um,
staff in the center,
yeah.
you see an inscription of news headline written around the bottom, which
Hmm.
says, Joy, as Robodog returns home after unexplained disappearance.
Yay! Well, that's a
Because
nice
in,
story. Like,
and this is a local story, by the way,
ooh,
because Robot
yeah,
Dog.
yeah, who imported a Boston Dynamics dog and lost
It's
it?
essentially it's very similar to a Boston Dynamics dog if you look at the
Mm.
photos. But it was in Newtown Johannesburg. There's the Cy Bono Discovery Center.
Yeah.
And last Thursday evening, one of their robot dogs just vanished. Like, just it was no longer there in the center, and they had no clue what happened. Like, it was just gone. And they've been stressing out about it the whole weekend. But this Monday, one of the staffers arrived to like open up the center at 7 a.m. and standing outside of the science center was the RoboDog.
I assume without battery and just like, oh.
They didn't really go into detail on whether or not he still had charge, but he was there, like, which is weird. It almost sounds like someone took him as a joke and then didn't realize how much stress.
Oh, holy crap. This thing's worth that much?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And then surreptitiously placed him outside in the middle of the night at the front door and hope he didn't get
good boy, yeah. That's quite like a thing. I mean, like, that's the Cyberno essentially is out onto like the square there, so that's I'm pretty sure they would be able to spot that if they really wanted to. But yeah, but yay, RoboDog return.
RoboDog. Apparently, there's several robots in that center. I've never actually been to that center, so
I've been there a few times before. So like they've been on the last
not since the before times.
Yeah.
So I think there's like one robot dog and like two robot people, and I didn't go into too much detail. The whole article was just saying how glad they were that their robot dog has returned, and it was probably wagging its robot tail.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
I wonder if Benjamin's like involved there.
Yeah, maybe we could ask. Haven't chatted to him in a million years either.
It's true. But I think that's yay for them getting it back. Would have been kind of crappy. It kind of feels like maybe also just like somehow alteration on Chappie.
Yeah, essentially, right? One day they'll develop a Chappie tech.
Yeah. But RoboDog gets it'd have been interesting if RoboDog gets stolen, winds up in some sort of like destitute area, becomes the family dog somehow.
Yeah.
And years later, they're like, what? And it's got a new personality and everything. We should pitch this to Neil Blomkamp.
Yeah, right. Although, have you ever seen? There's an Infinity model inspired by Chappie. Have you ever seen?
Oh, really? No.
Beta Trooper.
Okay.
It is. It's literally Chappie.
Yeah.
And it works for O12, the police. Police.
Nice.
It's a good model. Works well. It does wonders. Spider-Man's all over the place. Really good at climbing.
Very cool. Did you see the article today for the Sisters of Silence on the games?
I did. I glanced.
Did you see the picture of how they had posed the Defiler in that?
No, I did not.
They've literally got a spider crawling across one of the buildings in the picture for it. And it's like, ooh, I hope they get a rule. If they get a rule something of like, if they just touch a building, they can attack anywhere inside. I would be there for that.
That'd be cool. It would mean I'd dust off my Defiler in the box.
I know, right? I know. My Defiler, you guys go for my 21st. It's assembled.
Yay! Well, for my depth guard, I want to do a giant crab.
Oh, well, there we go.
I haven't found a nice STL yet, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got this flaming torch. You actually notice, weirdly, there's like, if you twist the base where this inscription is, it moves two mirrors like around the torch and shines light in the direction of the room.
Oh. Okay, well, let's do the initial brute force thing, or at least see what all the different positions do, and hope that I don't trigger a trap and die.
Okay, so what are you starting with? Where are you shining? Because you essentially have two light beams. What would you like to shine them on?
Let's put them at opposite angles and then go 12 and 6.
12 and 6. So you shine the lights at 12 and 6. There's a thrumming noise, and wraithly apparitions manifest in the room, and you are forced to battle them off.
Oh no!
It's a great fight, and you manage to eventually.
It's a good thing I have my charisma on my touch AC.
Exactly. But your two chipmunk friends are quite seriously injured in the battle.
Oh no!
But are still okay. They're just looking a bit winded.
They need a long rest.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, let's put them in a safe bag.
Okay, you put them in your side bag. You don't want to fight with them
Yeah,
anymore.
no. And we'll let's see. There's a horrible throwing and stuff. Let's move it to 9-3.
More wraiths summon
Oh
forth,
no!
and you are forced to fight them again.
This is terrible.
You
It's not.
yourself are feeling winded now.
Yeah. Too many PowerPoints to use now. Let's go back to the campsite,
Mm-hmm.
rest, and then
Mm.
come back.
Mm-hmm. What time would you like to come back?
Ooh. Uh. 9.
Okay, you come back at 9 o'clock
And
sharp.
I set it to 9.
With a click, a door opens in the far side of the
Ooh.
room, leading you to your next room.
Okay, well, let's head on.
So heading on, you walk down a long hallway, and in the distance, you can hear like sort of the dull murmur of a large room of people sort of talking softly together, casually, and like the occasional drink glass clinking together, and sort of general tavern noises, you
I
know.
was gonna say.
And you sort of push open two double doors that lead into a large room, and so far, all the walls have been the sort of ancient stone with vines that have slowly sort of giving away to time. And if it wasn't for the fact that some of the walls in this room still had the same sort of runes carved onto the walls,
Mm-hmm.
you'd been certain that you've been teleported to a completely different building,
Oh my.
because the chamber before you is sort of a luxurious, richly appointed uh, carpet with chandeliers and like
Greg,
gaming
my
tables all
my
throughout, and a well-stocked bar.
my instant metagame thing went. I just failed my perception or failed my will roll.
And
But
other than that, all of the like talking and whispering and drinking and noises like that, fall deadly silent the second you open the doors and there's no one in the room.
oh my. I was expecting there to be just like a phew, come play a game of Hearthstone against
Hmm.
me.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of tables set up, and it looks like they're sort of mid-game.
Okay, well
If
let's
you'd like to
examine what
investigate.
game is being played.
So you sit down at the table. They are playing a game of Hearthstone against each other.
Ooh.
But more interestingly, sitting on the table, like on the far side, is a bust. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
what? And this is because your next news headline is that a Russian company has melted down a Tesla to make busts of Elon Musk. And regrettably, they look nothing like him.
Of course they don't. I mean, yeah. I always think of that with like, there's that Ronaldo statue that just does not look like
For
Ronaldo.
some reason, busts like really struggle, which is weird because you
Yeah,
think like the full 3D nature, like
yeah, you would, but like artists, like inspiration and whatever. I mean, you can think about like the one there in Nelson Mandela Square has got like a very good like sort
it
of a
is
thing. So
close,
it's not
right?
impossible.
Yeah.
And you think about like all. I mean, it's Russia, ex-Soviet, like previous Soviet Union, and then you kind of like look at the Soviet Union, who there's all those statues and busts of like Lenin and
Hmm.
etc. all over the show. How do you?
Well, I suppose Elon Musk never volunteered to like
No,
stay
probably
still
not.
and get his face like
I mean,
properly.
they could just watch Iron Man 2. They could have gotten the things out
True,
of
that's
there.
true. You think like there'd be some sort of like intellectual property right over your own face
I
and the
think there
selling of busts?
I think there is probably,
Although
but
probably Russia doesn't
it's
care.
Russia. Yeah,
Probably
exactly.
what it
Like,
is.
what are you gonna do?
Mm.
So, yeah, I think that's an interesting one. Like,
Yeah. And
like they smelted out a full Tesla.
yeah, they bought a full Tesla with
Yeah,
$58,000,
yeah.
chopped it into bits, melted it, and made it into busts of Elon Musk to sell. And they're now selling them each for $3,220. And they made 27 busts.
What's the return on investment there?
Let's work it out quickly. But it's a Russian cosmetics company that has done this. That's the weirdest part. Like
Okay.
320 times by 27, 86,000. So yeah, it's a $30,000 profit they're making
And
it.
minus
Got to pay the
labor, yada
artists,
yada. But yeah,
manufacturing.
that's still kind of insane. And like, why? Just why have they got like you can put glasses on it, or is it like just for your
Well, so
interior, or
what
what are they
they're
known
selling
for?
them almost like Lucky Charms because the company founder Sergey Kitov said these new items embody the soul of Elon Musk, and therefore they will bring your owners success and creativity of this outstanding individual to your company.
So it's meant for like your entranceway of your company or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
something.
You can be like, look, we've got molten Tesla in our business.
Yeah. We could spend all this money.
Money.
Oh, damn. That's a bit of a weird one. Like I can only imagine it. Like it must like melted down Tesla must look awful as well. Because like although think about like how much lithium must be in there.
Yeah, lots of battery, right?
Yeah.
You can use it to charge your phone at the same time. Like, boop,
Mm.
boop. But they actually don't look so bad statue. They just look like busts.
Yeah.
But they don't look like Elon Musk at all. Like if you just showed me a picture of it and be like, "Who is this?" I'd be like, "Some
Some
guy,
person.
like some ancient president that I don't know." Like,
Lovely.
um, but yeah, the company's called Caviar, the Russian company,
Okay.
and they're
I'm going
known
to look
for
that
their
up.
cosmetics and luxury smartphones.
I'm half expecting them to have had a bust at some point of Nokia, like Nokia 3310s that they've
That
like
would be great, right? No, no, that's impossible. You can't melt
yeah,
those down.
exactly.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it'd
it's
be
literally just
like
been glued together.
glued together.
Uh, like we tried, it did not work.
Yeah. uh,
But yeah, so
cool.
that's the mystery of the Elon Musk bust. The Elon Musk bust turns to you and then plays a Hearthstone card. Ka-shing! You spend a great deal of time playing the Hearthstone game through. You eventually beat Elon
Bust.
Bust. Yeah, I was trying to do that in my head, but it wasn't working. Elon Bust. And he grimaces at you and melts down.
Ooh.
Um, but you slowly have to work your way through all of the games tables, playing a different game at each one.
So I'll see you
Before,
guys in 2 weeks.
yeah. So yes, he's playing through all of the games you can imagine. One of them has a 40k game set up. The other one has just plain poker. So yeah, we'll get back to you in 2 weeks once you've made your way through the games tables. Your
Mm-hmm.
chipmunks help you, like
Yeah, they can take a
occasionally,
game.
especially when the bust is cheating, because sometimes some of the
Ah,
tables the bust cheats and the chipmunks warn you.
yeah, nice.
Uh, but yeah, we'll get back to this next episode, so stay tuned.
Hmm. In the
Um,
meantime, though,
in the meantime, let's come back
yeah,
to the real world.
indeed, and all the things you can get up to in the lead up to that episode and post it probably too.
Right, right. So, festive fun.
Hmm,
December is a long month, though. What will
it
you be
is.
doing?
Well, tomorrow it's the Jingle Jam,
Oh,
and
jam.
yeah. So
Um,
lots of that for I'm sure well long-time listeners would know it because we've mentioned it plenty of times
yeah,
before, but anyone
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stumbling along, the Jingle Jam is a UK charity event run
Mhm,
by the Yogscast, which are
mhm.
not anymore like just a channel but a media
Coalition.
collective.
Yeah,
Yeah,
collective. That's the best way of referring to
yeah,
them.
and they do a yearly charity drive around this time of year, where they raise money for various different charities.
Hmm.
The most like high profile one of that is usually the I can't remember the damn name of it now, but it's the one that allows disabled children and people to
Mm.
play games,
Ah, yes, yeah.
which is really cool.
Hmm.
They get featured a lot in that. I know this year they're also doing one for like veterans, like getting placed in
Mm.
jobs after like coming back from military service and such,
Hmm.
and a few others. You can
Yeah,
choose where you go. They used to
yeah.
do it
That's
through Humble, but like they've now got their own
own
system that
platform.
they work with. But
But that's what I really liked about it is so you buy a bundle of games. Like generally they're pretty cheap little indie games and stuff, but they're fun to play around with. But more importantly, when you donate the money, you get to allocate which charity you want it to go to, by how much, and where. It's like you got full control over it.
Yeah.
So if you want to support that, like assisting people with disabilities in gaming, or if you want to help, I think last year I helped. It was the disability thing, but a specific instance of that where someone needed a prosthetic arm,
Mm.
um, and you could help with that, and like it's really cool idea.
Yeah, it is. And like, I mean, there's all of that, which is great. And especially around, and it's this time of year, like, there's usually 13th checks or a little bit of other stuff and like there. And a lot of people in need also around, particularly
Hmm.
in the Northern Hemisphere, it's winter time. So there's like all those kind of considerations. But I mean, there's also less work for people to kind of get up to make a day by day living kind of thing.
Hmm.
So always useful. Happy with that. But also then, yeah, it's just the streams, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not quite 24/7, but
Hmm.
it's early in the morning until late in the evening. A
Hmm.
bunch of really just decent people in general within the Yogs cast, and they all have a very good way of bantering and
Hmm.
bouncing off
Hmm.
each other. I always look forward to Hatform's like music stream. That's
Mm-hmm.
always a laugh and a half. I don't know if they're going to do it this year. They kind of do it, and then they're like, "Yeah, this was so great." And then like a few days after, they're like, "Oh, we're so drained. We don't have any creativity." So we'll see if they make another one this year or not.
Hmm.
It's always like just weirdly random songs. A lot
Hmm.
about Elon Musk, it must be said.
Well, well,
um,
clearly the spheres of our listeners
yes,
overlap with.
clearly. Also, it's a Civ 5 game this year because it's the
Ooh.
Civ 5 on the 5th.
Ah, clever.
So, yeah, it's the only
Yeah,
one that was announced before.
right. Well, for understandable reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I generally love just putting it on as background noise because they sort of
Mhm.
it rotates between who's streaming and what's
Yeah.
going on, and generally there's a nice little background stream of consciousness and some funny moments, and
Hmm. Like
it's
Toddy.
pretty cool. Like Toddy, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
classic.
it is. But yeah, I think that's like the first thing that's going to be like down.
Hmm,
Yeah.
start. When we can follow it up with our own charity endeavors,
It's
I
true.
guess. Um, our annual charity stream is a little bit shorter because we don't have a full creators
Full-time job.
collective that gets
Or
paid.
yeah, all of
um,
that.
but we do have a dedicated weekend with the Molecast,
Hmm.
and that's going to occur on the 10th, 11th, and 12th,
Yeah, it's the purple
starting at
pageant.
the Purple Pageant, yes,
Yes.
in support of the Lighthouse Children's Shelter.
Hmm.
So it's mostly just generating awareness for them and gathering donations for them. There'll be some details on how you can donate if you'd like on the Molecast group, but we'll probably share them
On
via the
socials and during the day, I'm very
yeah.
certain.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and we'll be getting up to shenanigans starting Friday evening
Well,
and going on till Sunday evening with breaks in between for human
yeah,
reasons.
and for various people. Yeah, yeah.
um,
Always like things like so weird. Like I don't know if you've seen some of like the subathons that, again, speaking into like the Yogs people like have done,
mhm,
where they'll do a subathon where it's like as long as people are subbing, they'll
mm,
keep the stream going.
mhm.
And I think Paid had one that lasts like 6 days, something silly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he just
So
not sleep? I don't understand.
yeah, because you can't sleep on stream.
Yeah,
So you had to like kind of navigate it of being like, okay, I'm taking a break now, guys. I need to nap. But
which is fair.
yeah, yeah. But
If you like the streamer enough to support them like that, you want them to
you
sleep
leave
so
them.
that
You
they
do.
don't
You
die.
do. Yeah. Yeah. I think it'll be good.
Hmm.
I'm sure there'll be lots of different Destiny games. We're kind of nailing that down at the moment.
Yeah, finalizing our schedule.
Yeah.
If our viewers have any suggestions of what they want to see played, they must just let us
Hmm.
know.
Yeah. Either here or on the Molecast socials.
Yeah, comments down
Um,
below or
and
Facebook or wherever.
look out for participation ones as well, because I'm fairly certain there'll at least be like some Jackbox at some point during the thing, all because
Yeah,
always
it's a
participation.
classic. Yeah,
Yeah. And maybe
yeah,
even a golf with your friends tournament again.
yeah. That went round well last year. People like
Mm,
the golf. I don't know if we'll do commentary as well at the same time, like we did last year.
maybe we'll see.
And the problem with putting two commentators on it is you get less players in the game then,
It's true.
which it's like a balance. Like
Yeah, it is.
um, But yeah, let us know via socials if you want to see anything. We're always looking for ideas, and
That's true.
especially so like I still don't know if it's worth doing something like a Legion stream or something like that, like a game of Legion in one of the slots or something like that.
I think
Because
it totally is. Like,
Molcast, the channel Molcast has drawn quite a lot of Star Wars supporters thanks to nationals and stuff. So,
yeah, exactly. And Legion actually did pretty well last time we streamed as
right.
well. So
So
yeah,
people want to see that,
Mhm.
and I think that the internet in general is pretty starved for that kind of content, Legion
It's
wise,
true.
because there aren't that many players who play it live. But yeah, that's
That's cool.
that.
Mm.
Um, do you want to chat about it any further, or should we move on?
I think we can move on. If you want to catch that, just look out for the Molcast. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. The schedule should come
twitch.tv,
out.
the Molcast.
Yeah.
And all other socials is also just the Molcast. So you
Mm.
should be able to find it on there.
And in fact, people are watching
On
this
that
on the
same Twitch
Molecast
channel.
most likely right now, or on
Yeah,
our YouTube. We'll leave a
exactly.
link to the Molecast in our doobly-doo below so that you can
Hmm.
just find it. If you actually, I think I do. Anyways, when I say watch us
It's a
live,
double
so
dibbly do.
what doobly-doo? What is it? No more doobly-doo.
A doubly dibbly do.
A doubly doobly-doo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. But yeah, well, speaking of wargaming on TTS, like that's something I'm probably going to get up to in December because it's something I quite enjoy. And being the way that the plague is currently going and slowly ramping up again,
Returning again. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
well, guess it's time to dust off the who am I kidding? It's not dusty. I've been using it
Just
all this time.
blow out the air filters on the computer. I don't know.
Yeah, blow out the air filters, get the plague from
Yeah.
the dust, a different kind of plague, ancient Egyptian plague.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's a few. You mentioned a few leagues in the last podcast and sort of stuff
Yeah.
that you've been
So
participating in.
coincidentally, I'm going to be on another podcast on the weekend
Ooh,
talking about one of the leagues that is just wrapping up, the Vol
nice.
Narrative League. Um,
Is that the one where you guys were just like, well, we're having fun as the A-Lift?
Pretty much, yes.
Cool.
And the great thing is, so he added this custom rule where you get like a custom character essentially in your army.
You mentioned,
And
yeah.
you get him for free, and he's like really, he doesn't generate orders or anything.
Mm,
And every game they level up. You know, like they gain like a little bit more power, like
yeah.
extra ballistic skill or extra willpower. Like it's randomly rolled.
Do they
So
eventually
you don't
get the
know.
ability to give orders?
No,
Or
sadly
provide
not.
into order pool?
Well, but because we're Aleph, we got the special ability called Rem Racer,
Mm,
which is a rule in the game that's very rare. And what it does is you give all your stats to another remote because you're like driving the remote.
yeah, yeah.
So my guy, as he was going through the campaign, only rolled level ups on close combat skill
Oh, yes, you mentioned, yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah.
So I've been rem racing like what's normally like a little dorky bot that's like,
Yes.
and he's got like a paralyzing close combat weapon, like a shock taser.
Nice.
And then I rem drive it, and it becomes a CC master that just goes and like stuns people across the battlefield. It's great.
Okay. All I'm imagining is it's RTE too.
Yeah, exactly right. And then so for the final match now, it's like a sort of a bonus match.
Okay.
They're taking all the team members' special characters that they've leveled up, and then you field them as a team. Like,
Ooh, okay.
so it's like a custom team. So no actual Infinity models are used, just these custom models.
Yeah.
So it's going to be ridiculous. And
Now they can finally generate orders, Greg.
Now they can finally generate orders, but none of us rolled the REM upgrade, which turns you into a REM, like a Roboman.
So you can't.
Our REM driver skill is useless.
Oh, that's a pity.
Yeah. So
that's just how it's happened. Aleph didn't like it evolved, and that iteration there, it's like, oh, lesson for next time.
So it might turn out that there's still like a few of the people who are finishing off their game, so they might still roll it. We'll see. Maybe they have to roll 20 on a 20-sided dice.
Stranger things happen all the time.
But otherwise, yeah, I'll keep playing games on TTS. Maybe even some against you if you're up for something at some stage.
I am. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like speaking of Legion and stuff, and perhaps from 40k, get used to the new Custodes rules when they drop.
Yeah, they're looking exciting
in a weird way because they kind of drop with the box set and not. Why?
Yeah,
Games Workshop.
I don't. So we might have to wait till January till we get the actual rules, which is a bit sad.
No, because the codex is in that box.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
they
know that.
mentioned. Yeah, both
Okay.
codexes are in that
Oh,
box.
damn.
So yeah,
Now I'm
makes that box
entirely
even
pumped.
more of a
I wasn't going to buy that box, though. Now what do I do?
splits the custody spot with me, Greg.
No, I have more custodies than you
I know
do.
you do,
Look, if
but I
they're
use
literally right
stars.
in that box over here.
You have enough Alaris.
um, and I don't need
Yeah,
any of those Gene Stealer called people either, except the new character.
no,
God damn.
exactly. Yeah, no, it's their weird way of doing things.
G-Dubs.
Mm.
Uh,
James.
James. Um,
But yeah, so I think it'll be like similar to what happened with like the Orc Codex and the Black Templar Codex, where
Oh, yes, they did do that
we
with
got
all
it a little bit
codec, didn't
before,
they?
and then we only spotted it
Yeah.
later. So it'll
Okay.
be a little bit of a similar situation, which
Hmm.
ugh. But yeah,
Weird, but okay, James, whatever.
yeah.
It'll filter its way down to us
It's fine.
eventually.
I'm waiting for the tile one, so it's cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, speaking of that, so like probably be painting up some of the models for like
Mm,
IRL sort of thing
mm,
for next
mm,
year.
mm.
Might actually start my dip into golden golden
Ooh,
boys
golden
territories.
boys.
Been looking at like I'm so surprised by like the boxes for it. Like they're like,
Mhm,
here are 5 models, which you'll make 3, and then you'll make this one into a captain, and you'll make this one into a flag bearer, because that's
mhm.
just how we work.
Right.
You're
Well,
like,
I mean, the
that's
unit's only three big,
cheapest.
so.
Yeah, you're like cheapest characters ever.
Mhm,
Great.
mhm.
So yeah, that has like put me more in a like cool, and then find someone to 3D print me a whole bunch of dreads.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I may know a guy.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I think like getting like some of like the admin and sort of stuff. I'd also like to touch up my sister's army there because
Photograph.
they were quite painted for nationals.
Hmm,
A lot of them need some touch up and such.
hmm,
Um, also like but I like it more with like more work with like the airbrush, so I'll be good.
hmm, hmm.
Yeah. Um, it's a pity, like some of the other things. I mean, like there's like a tournament down in Cape Town in January for
Yes.
40K, but I'm like travel and just stuff with
Yeah,
all of the COVID stuff.
I think I'm also ruling it out right now because
Mm,
of the spiking numbers. But
yeah, yeah, which is a pity. But
good
better
time.
safe than sorry, sort of thing with them
Hmm.
there, I think. Um, yeah, and then also game backlog. There's so many games to like
So
catch up
many
on.
games.
Oh,
Like I
there's so
did
many
pick up
games.
Wildermyth. I can't remember if
Yeah,
we spoke about. Did we speak about it on the podcast?
we've briefly spoken about it on
Before.
the podcast
Oh.
when I first started playing it, but I think
I
it's
picked it up and started playing it, and I'm quite enjoying it.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, like it's just that first tale, like they weave like such interesting and random things in
Like things that
there.
happen to your characters. That's what I quite like. Is
Yeah,
that this thing
yeah,
happens to your character, and you're like, whoa.
well, yeah, exactly. I also love like when they're like, well, actually, your character's descended from fire demons at some point in their living, so their harm all of a sudden ignites. You're like, what? Okay.
Yeah. And you can like choose to embrace it or
Brace it
reject
all.
it, and it's like,
Yeah,
am I making the wrong call here?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
because like one of my guys is turning into a werewolf slowly, like,
Same. I was
and I'm
just
like,
like,
I don't know if I should keep going
embrace
along
it.
with this.
Yeah, no, I said like I'm pretty sure I've told the story on the stream on the podcast, but like it's like one of my characters who their first mission as like a brand new adventurer got possessed during it,
Okay, of
so
course.
it's just like, well, this isn't good.
Whoops, whoopsie.
Whoopsie.
Um, but yeah,
um,
I'm enjoying it as a game. So
yeah,
definitely going to play some more of that in.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm hoping that we can get like a stream during the
yeah,
just
during this
streaming
character
to kind of
stream.
do it
Yeah.
with like multiple people in there, just controlling all the different characters and making weird decisions.
Yeah, for each
I'm a
person on the team.
Birdman now.
Yeah.
What?
Okay then.
Okay then.
um,
Yeah,
and do you know how multiplayer it is? Do people can
it's
actually
pretty
people
decent.
do
It's
it
good.
like log in and control character or
Yeah, yeah. So effectively, you each get a character, and then
okay?
it's
Yeah.
weird as well because you take your turns in parallel, and it's
Ooh.
sort of like whoever does it first does it. So
Okay.
yeah, so it's just this like sort of like wow.
Wait for me!
Yeah,
Don't run
yeah.
away! I wanted to buff
It's
you.
still turn based, but yeah, it's still turn based before between like the
Yeah,
rounds
yeah.
and stuff
The
and
good
any
guys,
sort of
bad
thing.
guys, good guys, bad
Yeah,
guys.
but it's quite interesting to just see that because like you'll have people be like, what? What's also interesting is just seeing because like the relationships between characters also kind of like go in
Mm.
there, so you can
And
be
they
like,
change.
oh, well, what was this player's with this player,
Yeah.
or various things
Rival
like
or
that.
lover or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
childhood friend or like
Mm. So there's a
whatever.
couple of cool things within that. I mean, there's also like there's the new Minecraft, which
Mhm.
released today. There's
Oh,
going to
was
be the
it today?
Molecraft, yeah.
I
So
thought it
there's going to
already
be
happened, but
no. So there's 1.17, which is the Caves and Things Part One, Caves and Caverns. That's the one, and then
mhm.
there's Part Two, which is 1.18, which is now the one where they've got the
Mm.
totally new world gen, where it's 64 blocks bigger upwards and downwards.
Ah,
So
yes, yeah, yeah.
yeah, which it makes it interesting for original worlds because they effectively are like, well, you know that layer of bedrock? There's now a layer below that. And upwards, obviously, an extra few thing for your bold height. So you can get some like very grand sweeping vistas. It's quite cool.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, looking forward to that because we'll have the Molecraft server. Get the second one up
mm,
there, get some
mm,
recording on various things like the first 100 days, and just get everything set up. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, people should tune in. The Minecraft stream is on Thursdays.
Yes. Well, this
Um,
Thursday is going to be the finale, so
yeah, of this chapter, I guess.
yeah,
This this version chapter. So tune in for an action-packed finale.
yeah, I'm certain it
Um,
will be.
and then tune in again for an action-packed Ristale.
I don't know about like the action
Finale.
packed, but yeah, I don't know. To me, it's always like Minecraft's one of those games where different parts of it engage me at different stages.
Mm,
Where I'll be
mhm,
like, yeah, exploring and seeing, and I'll be like, that's cool. Or, oh, yeah, I can actually sit and strip mine for
mm,
whatever and still feel engaged. And then other times I'll just
yeah.
be like, I can't imagine anything more boring.
Mm,
I just want to do
mhm,
other stuff. So, yeah, I'm hoping a new lick of paint on that will reinvigorate and sure will do for a lot of people. And we'll see a lot more
mhm.
guest stars in there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah. And then game-wise, I noticed that Stellaris, so that's one of my go-to
Yes.
waste a lot of time games, got a new DLC
Do see that,
um,
yeah.
where they added deep sea races
Mm.
like celestial sea space dragons, like
Which is, yeah, because you're like, deep sea, but it's space based.
mm.
So how's this?
So so there was always so the deep sea pack essentially just gives you the origin of your race is a deep sea race,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then obviously you're more inclined to terraform planets into ocean worlds,
Mm.
which other races may not appreciate getting their planet turned into a sea. Um, but the space dragons they always used to have in the game as it's like a hostile element in the game. Like if
Mm.
you accidentally stumbled upon a system with a space dragon in it, your science vessel would immediately get eaten, and you'd
Yeah,
have to send a massive fleet to go and slay the dragon. Like old school style.
yeah.
But with the new expansion, it unlocks like a path where you start in a system with one of these dragons,
Ooh,
and you sort of like grew up coexisting with it, and it has always like protected your planet.
okay.
And you can like either choose to enslave it or tame it or like befriend it or like depending on which path you take, kind of thing.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is how it kind of fun.
But yeah, definitely a game you can sit down, be like, yeah,
One
I'll
more
just
turn
play for an
syndrome.
hour till I make dinner, and then you look up and it's like, it's 5 in the morning and I didn't eat
Hmm.
dinner. What was I doing? Let me just take another turn and I'll go
Yeah,
have breakfast.
yeah.
Mm.
No, there's enough of those like sort of games that like kind of like pop up from time to time.
Hmm.
And it's always nice when there's a new expansion because like you can
Yeah.
dive quite deeply into that and be like, oh, I didn't know that this was like a thing, or I hadn't
Mm.
thought of building in this way, or etc.
Hmm.
So
And like these expansions, they're like micro DLC packs or whatever, but
yeah,
they're
so
cheap.
it's
They're like $60,
yeah,
and it
yeah,
really does. It like gives me the opportunity because like I play through a whole playthrough, and it keeps me busy for like an inordinate number of hours, and then I come back to it when a new pack releases, and it's $60, and I get to experience the whole game all over again. So,
yeah, yeah. It's nice. It's what you want from a game.
mm.
Surprised they don't have like a season pass like Civ did.
They might. I've just never really looked into it because I've always had the latest thing. Like
Yeah,
I think if you started new, there's probably at least like collector's packs and stuff, or
Okay.
multiple things
Yeah. Yeah.
that are on special all the time now because everyone has them already.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, well worth it if you want a 4X game to absorb all of your time.
I mean, that's what they do.
That's what they do. And do it well.
uh, Game so thing, there's the new Hearthstone expansion coming out next week, so looking forward to that. Pre-ordered a whole bunch of packs. Glob. But yeah, it's worthwhile for me because I play like the higher tier sort of thing there. So, and you just can't if you don't, unfortunately. Like, I mean, there are free to play players, but I think they stream. It's their
Yeah.
profession.
Yeah, it's literally just what they sit down and do.
Yeah. So looking forward to that. It's been interesting because they've done this whole thing of a group of mercenaries for Horde and Alliance, and they've kind of in the first set of the year was in the Barrens. It's them all at low level, kind of learning the way. So they had a card for them. It was a minion. Then they went to Stormwind and they made a spell, a quest for everyone, and it's a quest line. So it evolves as you do stuff. So it'll be the mage one is play a frost spell, an arcane spell, and a fire spell, and then it advances to the next stage, and then it'll be play another frost, arcane, and a fire spell, and it advances. And when you get to the end of it, it gives you a new version of the minion of that particular person, and they're always a 7/7, and they're always relatively cheap, and they'll do some big game ending effect usually. So it'll be the mage gives you plus spell power for the rest of the game. The Draenei priest, she puts a card into your deck because her whole thing is that she's in the background of the story. They've been in the Barrens. There was this troll baddie who was looking for shards of Anaru. And in the Stormwind one, they the Alliance get hold of some of the shards, and this priest was looking for it. So her whole thing is when you finish her quest line, you get that one of the shards of the Naru, and that goes into your deck. And if you draw it and then play it, it kills your opponent in one turn. So it's just destroy your opponents. You're oh, cool. That's
the power of Naru.
Yeah, so they've had all of that, and now in this latest set, it's now Ulteric Valley. So they've got all the mini bosses as cards and stuff, and then each of those guys from the different classes are now hero cards, so the ones that replace your hero, and they've all got their all new abilities and kind of stuff. So it's been a fun little there's a cool storyline going through Hearthstone in a year, which they did before with the Explorers sort of thing with Galakron and all of that kind of stuff. So it's been fun to see them attempting new things in
building lore.
Azeroth.
It's cool. It reminds me of. Are you familiar with the "No Patrick, that's an X" meme?
Yes, yeah.
So have you seen the WoW ones?
Yeah, the one where it's first Ashbringer, and then
Ashbringer, and then no Patrick, that's Frostmourne.
I love those. I'm sure I don't know if I've mentioned it in here sort of thing, but from the South Park World of Warcraft episode with the Elven Boars, and they power level through that to get up to level 60, and then they get the sword of 1,000 Truths, I think it is.
Oh yes, yeah.
So in the last Hearthstone expansion, they put that in. So there's an Elven Boar, and if you kill 7 of them during the game, reminder, you can only have 2 in your deck, so you have to have jump through quite a few circles of it.
You've got to literally.
If you kill 7 of them, you equip the sword of 1,000 Truths, which is 15 attack and destroys all your opponent's mana when you attack them with it. So it's very cool that they've got that space to play with. I think
sort of meta space almost.
Yeah, I mean, there's all those things. There's all the old sets with the old gods where they kind of made them a bit more fun.
Yeah, cartoony villain as opposed to creepy.
I will end everything and eat the world's soul. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do in the next year. The meta is very fast at the moment, so I'm expecting a heavy control next year, which I don't mind. But yeah.
And well, speaking of online games, Endwalker's coming out on the 7th. Yeah, so I'm literally halfway through the final expansion. I'm nearly there.
It's almost there.
I've been taking my time because I don't want to rush it and burn myself out. and
It's
I've
very
been
easy
busy
to.
doing other things like
Yeah.
online leagues and stuff. So every
Yeah.
now and then I have an evening of Final Fantasy, and
It's tough.
they have
I'm
lots
treating
of.
New World at the moment.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. And so the one thing, like Final Fantasy has a lot of story, um, but sometimes it feels like it's got too much story,
I
which
get
you'd
that.
think would be impossible, right? But like it must have been about 2 weeks ago. It was near the end of the second last expansion,
Mm.
and what they do is when they get to like end expansion content, because you're no longer leveling and stuff, they tend to add more cutscenes in and things and more story
Yeah.
as like
Yeah.
a which has obviously been unlocked slowly over the course of the expansion. But because
Mm.
I'm coming to it years
Now.
later, I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
all of it at once. So it literally, I sat down and was like, let's get some gaming done. And then it was like watching Final Fantasy the movie, because it literally went from cutscene to cutscene to cutscene to cutscene to cutscene to cutscene to cutscene.
Mhm.
And like 2 hours had passed. I was like, I don't even think I've used an ability once.
I've just run from point A to point B and
Yeah,
spoken
well,
to an
I
NPC.
mean, they've even learned that people don't like running from point A to point B. So it literally just jumps you to the next cut. So it's literally just a string of, and it's like watching a movie, which is
Yeah.
great. But if I wanted to watch a movie, I would have gone and watched the
Yeah.
movie.
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
so I don't. I think it'll be better if when I'm live experiencing the
Yeah.
expansion content as
That's
opposed
it. I
to
mean, like,
post.
as far as I understand, they don't time gate their stuff, so that might have
Hmm.
just actually been the experience.
Possible. It's possible.
Oh.
And so originally, the original content, when you got these long chains, they never used to warn you. Because you'd get stuck in these super long cutscenes
Mm.
for forever, and you'd be like, "But I need to go have lunch down the
Yeah.
road, and I'm stuck in this cutscene,
And
and
it's
I
an
don't want to skip."
MMO, so I can't pause this.
Um, and I mean, you can always go back and watch them in your private chambers. There's like a
YouTube.
memory book. You can go
Yeah.
and rewatch them. But now, since like the last two expansions, when it's about to trigger one of these long chains of cutscenes, it goes, "Warning, you are about to trigger a large number of cutscenes. Please set aside adequate time to watch all of these cutscenes." And you can go,
Lovely.
"Okay," or cancel. Which is great, because then I'm like, "Oh no,
I'm gonna go
I've got
fish instead.
a
Thank you.
meeting in half an hour.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
pass from now."
Nice.
Quite funny that they added that pop up. I found it hilarious.
Yeah. It feels very Metal Gear Solid-y.
Hmm. Hmm.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I think there's more than enough to do during
Yeah.
this December period.
Plenty of stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll
Um,
catch, well, not necessarily in person anymore,
hmm.
but we'll see people around in
Yeah,
one
you
way
know
or
what?
another.
Like digitally is practically in person nowadays, anyways. Practically the same thing. It's like you're on the other side of the room from me, Joe.
Oh yeah,
See you
totally.
out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, viewers, let us know what you're doing over December. If you're getting up to anything exciting, or if you're
Hmm.
going to be watching the Jingle Jam, or even the Millcast Purple Pageant.
Yeah,
We'd love to see you there. Even
we
if you
would.
just pop in and say hi in the chat, and that you came from the podcast. Make all the other moles jealous.
Yes, we would like that.
Yes, yes. Um, but yeah, so yeah, just as a reminder, the Purple Pageant is on the 10th, 11th, and 12th.
Mhm.
So tune in and join us there for some fun and games.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Until then, bye.
Cheerio. Bye.